The question is that most religions would expect loyalty to a prophet, a teacher, incarnation. How does Hinduism deal with this, with its myriad scriptures and different forms of gods and goddesses and different teachers? How does Hinduism do that? Well, first of all, Swami Vivekananda put it this way: we Hindus worship a transcendent, immanent God, a God who is both impersonal and personal. How does that work? The Brahman of the Upanishads, existence, consciousness, bliss, is impersonal. It has nothing to do with a particular person, with any particular man or woman. It is pure being, pure consciousness, pure bliss. It's exactly the same in you, me, in the meanest little animal and in the greatest of saints. It's exactly the same everywhere. And it's completely impersonal. But that very impersonal reality is also the God of religion. When we come to this world, there's a world and there are individual creatures, then that impersonal reality appears to us as the God of religion, as the personal God. Now, because that impersonal reality is beyond speech, beyond conception, when we try to conceive of it, when we try to understand it, we can get multiple conceptions, multiple ways in which we can appreciate, grasp, worship, love that impersonal reality. When we make it personal, it doesn't have to be one person, it doesn't have to be in one particular form. If it's infinity, because of its nature is infinity, you can approach it in many, many ways, in infinite ways in fact. One of the things Sri Ramakrishna did not like was limiting the nature of God, that God can be this and God cannot be anything else because my book says so. Well, it's like you are demanding that God will fit according to our definition or our understanding. Why should God do that? So, the Hindu understands that God can be with many forms. When you try to understand that which is formless, you can ascribe many forms to it. That which is formless also appears as forms. The forms are not false. The formless appears with forms. Now, the formless can appear with many forms. Water, whichever container you put it in, a cylindrical glass or a bowl, water appears to be cylindrical or like a bowl. It takes the form of the container you put it in because it does not have a particular shape of its own. In the same way, God can appear to us in different forms. We can worship, appreciate, approach God in different forms. Swami Vivekananda says, Vedanta is entirely impersonal, but with sufficient scope for any number of persons. One interesting thing of having a personal religion, a purely personal religion without an impersonal dimension. If you have a personal religion, a personal God, you know what happens? The strange paradox is, once I worship a personal God, this is the prophet, God is of this form, this name, then it rules out any other kind of personal God or person. Because one person, one form, that means it cannot be of any other form. You come to me with a religion speaking about God in other forms, other names, other teachers, I'll say, no, that's false. Because God is of only this form, only this person is the teacher, only this is the scripture. So you see, it is an impersonal reality, an impersonal principle which makes room for all personal approaches to God. That's why, from the Vedantic standpoint, if you worship God as Shiva, if you worship God as Vishnu, it's still the same. I have no problem. The Vedantin has no problem going to the temple of Shiva and bowing down, or temple of Vishnu and bowing down and worshipping, having the same devotion. Why just that? It can be in female form. In India, there's an ancient, very ancient tradition of worship of the mother goddess. It can be Durga, it can be Kali, it can be Lakshmi, Saraswati. And when you come to the Hindu and say, no, God is Allah or Jehovah or our Father in heaven, perfectly all right. Perfectly all right. That's one more wonderful way of worshipping God. Why not? If you say that is the only way, that's something that the Hindu doesn't understand. Why? How can it be the only way? So you have scope for any number of forms. So ancient scriptures say, the most ancient of scriptures available today, the Rig Veda. The Vedas, among them the oldest is the Rig Veda. There you have the famous statement, Ekam sat vipra bahudha vadanti. The truth is one. It's not a polytheistic approach which is being recommended. The truth is one, but the wise speak of it, express it differently. The truth is one, You can approach it as Durga or Kali or Jehovah or Allah or our Father in heaven. Any way you like. Now one more thing. The question actually was more precise. Given all of this, what about loyalty? So the Hindu has a concept of Ishta Devata. There's a concept of Ishta Devata. If you have all these forms, okay, so it makes religion very rich, very broad, very liberal. But what does one do actually? What does a Hindu do? Does a Hindu worship a different god every day of the week? Different religion every day of the week? No. The Hindu has this concept of Ishta Devata. Since God can be approached, the ultimate reality can be approached in different forms and different names, indeed through the formless and the nameless also, in whichever way you like, you take up one. You take up any one. It could be Krishna, or it could be Christ, it could be Durga or Kali. You take up any one approach as your personal practice, knowing that reality which comes to you as Krishna or Christ is the same reality which comes to the other person as Allah and Muhammad, or as the void of the Buddhist. It's the same reality, having absolutely the same respect for everybody else. But when you practice, actually worship and adore and take the name and meditate, you have a form to which you are loyal. You have a name which you repeat. You can have a particular cult. Here, for example, in the Ramakrishna order, we are impersonal. We are followers of non-dual Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta. The ultimate reality, we say, is impersonal. It is pure being, pure existence, pure being, pure consciousness, pure bliss. And it is the same whether you are a follower of Vedanta or not. It's the same for a Hindu, a Muslim, a Christian, or an atheist. It's the same in all animals and birds and in higher beings. If there are gods in heavens, it's the same in them. It's the same in all inanimate beings also. And when everything is destroyed in the universe, in the cosmic pralaya, the dissolution of the universe, when no thing is there, no person is there, no creatures are there, no planets or stars, even then that same existence, consciousness, bliss exists, is there without any suffering, any diminution. So that's what we believe in our order, the order of monks we belong to. And yet, we say that we find the same reality expressed in the religions of the world. In all the varieties of Hinduism and in the other religions of the world, they are all true. Sri Ramakrishna showed by his own experiences. And the final thing I'll say is, we also have a personal cult of our own. If you want to worship, be loyal, and follow a particular path, we have that. Right? Somebody, when Swami Vivekananda started the worship of Sri Ramakrishna in Belur Math, somebody protested, aren't you starting a cult? Well, yes. You have, if you want to love, you say love pure being, it's a bit difficult. Love pure being. Worship pure being, it's very difficult. It may be good as a philosophical concept, but if you want to establish a relationship, you need a personal ideal. So you have a personal ideal. It does not compromise with your impersonal ideal at all. So that's the answer to the question. It's impersonal and personal, it is transcendent and immanent, and therefore it's impersonal with scope for any number of persons. So in Hinduism, you have had multiple incarnations, and there's always doors are open for many more incarnations to come, because they don't contradict. I don't have a feeling that should I follow Rama or Krishna. The question for a Hindu will be, is Krishna your Ishta Devata? Your Ishta literally means the chosen ideal. Is Krishna your Ishta? I say, if I say yes, then worship Krishna, but you know that Rama is the same as Krishna. And let the other person worship Rama. Perfectly alright. And you can still go to the temple of Rama and bow down with equal reverence. You can still read the Ramayana and chant hymns to the praise of Rama, because you know it's the same. Yes.